I had prepared a written speech, but I think I will not read that and open my heart with you. It's a, for me, it's a family function. From 16th of March, 1985 till 14th of November, 2003, I was your member. And after 24th of November, 2025, I will be again your member. And therefore, I consider this occasion as a celebration by members of my own family. I'm really humbled at the love and affection showered by all of you. The weight of so many headgears from the different parts of the country will always remind me of my duties. Today's function is a true picture of diversity in India, which we always believe. Our constitution has been so suited, has been so drafted so as to suit the various diversities in the country. We have geographical diversities, we have regional diversities, we have people from different religions living in the country, different castes, we have diversities in economic status of the citizens, to which Mr. Vanan Kumar Mishra referred Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's speech on 25th of November 1949, on which day he had warned us. When I reflect on the journey of last 40 years, and Mr. Manan Kumarji referred to it, I became a lawyer not by choice. My first choice was to be an architect, and I still continue that fashion because I was the chairman of the Infrastructure Committee of Bombay High Court for long, and here also I'm involved in the building committees. It was my father. My father, in his young days, in the Dr. Ambedkar's movement for social revolution, had jumped in the said revolution, and though after his completion of graduation, he wanted to be a lawyer, he was imprisoned and he could not write his LLB examination. And therefore he wanted one of his sons to be a lawyer, and I, being the elder, I had to honor his desire. And therefore I chose law. His life was inspired by Dr. Ambedkar, and here also an occasion to work closely with Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar in Dr. Ambedkar's movement for social revolution. And therefore from my childhood, Dr. Ambedkar and the Constitution are embedded, and I have grown with the ideas of Dr. Ambedkar and the Constitution. I started practicing in Mumbai for a short period, then went to Nagpur. I must also mention two of the stalwarts we had at the Bombay Bar, Mr. V.R. Panor, who is still with us, and Mr. Bhausaheb Bobde, father of Justice Bobde, who were the leading lawyers initially at Nagpur, but later on, after becoming advocate generals, shifted to Bombay, and then thereafter continued to practice there even after they demitted the offices of the Advocate General. And both of them insisted that your region is Vidarbha, and if you shift to Nagpur, it will be in your interest, and therefore, accepting their advice, I shifted to Nagpur, and what they had predicted came to be true, and within a couple of years, I had a very, very good practice. Then 2000, the then Chief Minister, Mr. Vilasrao Deshmukh, he asked me to take the office of the government pleader. At Nagpur, the office of the government pleader is as important as the Advocate General, because he is in charge of all the important litigations at the Nagpur bench. I accepted it on the condition that half of the assistant government pleaders would be of my choice, and I told him that I know your difficulties, political difficulties. 50% may be of your choice, but I will run the office with the people of my choice. I had inducted lawyers who had 7 or 8 years practice, young, bright. They worked there. Some of them later on adorned the office of the government pleader. Some of them left the government pleader's office and started practicing. And I'm happy to share that out of them, 3 are adorning the office of the High Court of Bombay, and one of them is in the pipeline. I was somewhat doubtful whether I should accept the office of the government pleader or not, because it amounted to huge financial sacrifices. Justice Bobde and I, we were sitting on the same table. He is just like an elder brother to me. And when that offer came, he said, I had never hidden my desire to become a High Court judge. I always wanted to be a judge, and he said that if you come from the normal channel, you may require some more time to come to the bench. But if you become a government pleader, you will get an accelerated route. And that proved to be true. Within 6 months, I was offered by Justice B.P. Singh. But then he asked my age, and I was 39 and a half. So he said, you'll have to wait till you complete 40. In the meanwhile, he came to Supreme Court, and so by the time I was asked, it was around, I completed 41 or so. And thereafter, the name was doing rounds as usual. My name came, the collegium sent back, why should he be elevated at the age of 41, 42? And the collegium chaired by Justice Trivedi, Justice C.K. Thakkar and Justice Kapadia and Justice D.D. Patil, they wrote a strong note, and even after that note was written, the files were not moving. So one day I told my father that the wait is enough. I think that I should now start practicing. In the meantime, when Justice Thakkar, he came to know about my decision to withdraw, he spoke to the CJI, Justice Khare that time, and he called me, can you go and meet the Chief Justice of India? So I told him, if a lawyer gets an opportunity to meet a CJI, which lawyer would deny it? Even if I don't become a judge, I would be happy to meet the Chief Justice of India. Justice Khare was gracious enough, he gave me an audience for about half an hour, and he said that I will let you know. And within 1 week, he rang me and he said that the collegium, young man in the collegium has cleared your name. And that's how I'm here. I had doubts as to whether I should accept the judgeship or not. It was my father who said that if you continue as a lawyer, you may earn lots and lots of money. But if you become a judge of a constitutional court, you can carry forward the legacy of Dr. Ambedkar's idea of social and economic justice in discharging your duty. And today, I'm happy that I decided to abide by my father's verdict. In the last journey of 22 years as a High Court judge and last 6 years as a Supreme Court judge, I have done my best. Nobody can say that he is perfect, but I have done my best, and wherever an opportunity came to ensure that the social justice and economic justice within the four corners of the Constitution is attempted to achieve. Wherever the conflicts came between the fundamental rights and the directive principles, the Keshavanand Bharti always guided us. It was Keshavanand Bharti's judgment which resolved the conflict between the fundamental rights and the directive principles, and which said that directive principles and fundamental rights together are the soul of the Constitution of India. I had an opportunity to sit with many of my senior judges, Justice Bobde, Justice Arun Mishra, Justice Ramna. But I will recollect my working with two of the prominent judges of this court with whom I had an opportunity to share a bench for a long time. I was initially sitting with Justice Nariman, and that bench continued for almost a year. And as a High Court judge, there are many subjects which never come across you. You have to learn in the Supreme Court many new subjects. IBC was totally new for me, but sitting with Justice Rohington Nariman, he encouraged me to write judgments on IBC. We always had difficult times to deal with the arguments of the then one of the most busiest lawyers, Mr. Vishwanathan. And thereafter, for 1 year, I had an occasion to sit with Justice Nageshwar Rao, who, apart from being one of the finest judges, is also one of the finest human beings. And in that 1 year sitting, he also encouraged me to write many judgments. Rather that sometimes when the judgments were pending with him for a month or so, I would just say, sir, if you are very busy, you can just pass on some judgments to me, and he would readily agree. Therefore, I would be grateful to both Justice Rohington Nariman and Justice Nageshwar Rao for shaping up my career as a junior judge in the Supreme Court. When I started heading, in fact, I was to start heading a bench 2 or 3 months prior to Justice Nageshwar Rao's retirement. But I requested the Chief that please permit me to continue with Justice Nageshwar Rao till he demits the office, and I will start heading the bench only after he retires. Amongst my junior colleagues, I've sat with many of them, and I must acknowledge the contribution of each one of them. But the longest sittings that I had as a senior judge that I've been with Justice Vishwanathan, and I must say that that part of 7 months was a learning for me from him. Or rather, he would deny that. It was rather a mutual learning for each of us. When the issue of demolition of the structures being used as the tool for punishing someone without being permitted to face a trial came, the learned solicitor who appeared was fair enough to concede that no such demolitions can take place because the provisions of law. And with the important contribution of Justice Vishwanathan, though the judgment goes in my name, but he has equal, if not more, contribution in penning down that judgment. And that is a judgment, I think, which gave utmost satisfaction to both of us. In my journey of 18 years, 17 years as a judge of the High Court, and last 6 years as a judge of the Supreme Court, there are many judgments wherein I could attempt to give justice to the last citizen of this country, to live up to the vision of Dr. Ambedkar, which was embedded in me by my father. I don't know how far I have been successful. That verdict will come on, I think, 21st, 22nd November, because 22nd and 23rd are holidays. So when I took oath 2 days ago as a CJI, the only feeling that I had is that my position doesn't change, but my functioning would change. I would have to now function on a larger canvas and to address various issues. The issue with regard to diversity and inclusiveness in the appointment of judges has always been advocated by me. When one of the conferences, the Honorable Prime Minister and the then Chief Justice, Dr. Chandrachud, were present, I had requested all the Chief Justices present in the court, including Justice D.K. Upadhyay, who was my chief, being a chief of the Bombay High Court, to send the names of the marginalized sections, the women, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribe, the other backward classes. Insofar as the women candidates are concerned, on a personal note, I have spoken to many of the Chief Justices that if they do not have a woman candidate in their high courts, they should take from a very good pool of women advocates who are practicing in the Supreme Court. And to some extent, we have been successful in that. The results will come in a short period. Insofar as Mahalakshmi Pauneji's candidatures, which she declared yesterday, is concerned, the call is not on me. The call is to be taken by the first 5. But I will certainly put up before the collegium her candidature. I take pride in one coincidence that I adorn the office of the CJI of this court, of this country, when the Constitution of India has completed its Amrut Mahotsav and has started its journey towards the century. On 26th of January 2025, we have completed 75 years of the Constitution. And I always say that the journey of 75 years of all the three wings of our democracy, be it legislature, be it executive, be it judiciary, has been always satisfactory. The legislature and the executive has enacted many laws towards fulfillment of the promise of social and economic justice. Though prior to 1973, the situation may be different, but pro-1973 after Kechavanand Bharati, you see all the judgments, they advocate social and economic justice. And therefore I take pride that I get to adorn the office of the highest court of this country when the Constitution has completed 75 years. Our Constitution is a living, is an organic document. It is not static, and it has to adapt itself to the changing needs of the society. And I'm sure that the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, they all abide by this principle. One of the issues is with regard to pendency of cases. The vacancies of the judges also contribute to the pendency. We on the part of our collegium would certainly try to do our best. I would request the learned solicitor to convey our request to the executive that by a cooperative role, cooperative approach, we must ensure to minimize to fill up the vacancies as much as fast, as quickly as we can fill up, so that to some extent the issue of pendency would be resolved. I also have a pleasure to say on this occasion that when we talk about the diversity and the inclusiveness, I'm grateful to my collegium judges that the first appointment we cleared as a Chief Justice yesterday was of a judge belonging to marginalized section of the country, one of the most backward classes, one of the most backward scheduled tribe castes in the state of Karnataka. My friends from the media present here, they were somewhat not happy because I refused to give any interviews to them. I said that we'll just have an interaction over a cup of tea and vada pav. I don't, that insofar as press is concerned, I am somewhat shy, not otherwise, because I like to mix in people, I like to meet people. Sometimes I'm also told by some that as a judge, as a Supreme Court judge who is in a line to become a CJI, it's not good to mix so much in people, but I don't believe in that theory of isolation. Unless you know, you move in the society, you will not be aware about the problems of the society. And today's judge, he can't decide the matters only in black and white, totally ignoring the ground realities in the society. I did not give any interviews because I cannot make any promises. I don't believe in making promises initially and then at the end the friends from the press themselves criticizing that in his interview he has made so much promises, but it doesn't. So they will pardon me for that. The only thing I can say is that whatever short period that I have, I will do my best to stand by my oath, to uphold the rule of law, to uphold the Constitution of India, and make an attempt to reach to the commonest man of this country, last citizen of this country, so that the vision of the framers of the Constitution of social and economic equality, along with political equality, is brought into reality. I'm very much overwhelmed. I'm humbled for the love and affection showered on me by the Bar Council of India and all the lawyers from the country. I always been closely associated before I came to Delhi with the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. I could sometimes joke that I'm almost like a cooperative member of the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. After coming here, I've been closely associated with the Bar Council of India. We have together established an international law university at Goa. Mr. Upadhyay was also a part of it. I express my gratitude to all of you from bottom of my heart and beseech of you that bless me that whatever period I have as a Chief Justice of India, every minute is spent for this nation, for this society, and for the fraternity. Thank you very much.